You've got an opportunity now. You've got one of the other architects sitting right next to me. What do you want to say to him? You obviously have a big problem with Project 2025. You've got one of the architects.
Okay. Donald Trump will be able to go in and replace career civil servants with political appointees.
Okay. You sound like a sore loser, Brian.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In this video, we are going to be watching Brian, one of the Piers Morgan liberal lambs to the slaughterhouse, one of the David Pakman sort of liberals, come face to face, head to head with one of the leaders of the Project 2025 movement, the fascist, right-wing authoritarian plan to take over America and ruin democracy forever. You see, Brian and the liberals have been sounding the alarm and crying about this for a very long time, and now he will finally get his moment to confront the monster under the bed. So with that, let's get into the first bit where Piers talks to the president of the Heritage Foundation and one of the architects of Project 2025, Kevin Roberts.
I want to bring in Kevin because there's some breaking news while we've been talking that the special counsel, Jack Smith, has now instructed a judge to dismiss the federal election interference case against Donald Trump. He told the judge that the case should be closed because of the Justice Department's policy that bans the prosecution of a sitting president. You know, all this legal stuff against Trump is obviously falling apart now. And I felt that that was another key, we haven't really talked about this as being a key reason that he ended up winning, in fact, becoming the nominee again, was because of the weaponization of the justice system, which I think is completely inarguable. And the fact that one case they chose to drag him through the criminal court first was over shuffling paperwork over an alleged one-night stand with a porn star 18 years ago seemed to me so ridiculously trivial and frankly pathetic to do that to an American president, that actually it massively backfired. And that you saw through the year, actually, I'll tell you when you saw it from when Ron DeSantis was way ahead in the polls to be a Republican nominee. And I interviewed him, I think it was March last year, and he was absolutely looking like he was running away with it. And then the left started to weaponize the justice system, case after case after case. And each time they did it, each time Trump appeared in court, he got more popular, he got a boost in the polls until he became an unstoppable wrecking ball to the very party that was doing it to him. And I felt that, along with one more thing, the shooting at the rally and the way he responded to that, I think that as well was a massive impact on Americans. You thought, you know what, whatever you think of him, that was badass ballsy. Kevin, discuss.
Just a quick friendly reminder to smash that like button today, guys. And also, if you are enjoying this content, getting value from the channel, if you feel like you're learning stuff and having a good laugh maybe, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. Let's get back to it.
The left always overplays its hand, Piers. We see that in so many issues, starting with the gravest political persecution in modern American history against Donald Trump. That would be really tragic against any American citizen, but particularly against a former president. You see it as they've done it with the transgender ideology, which we were talking about earlier, the lawlessness at the southern border, the lawlessness in American cities, the fact that in our public schools, we're not just teaching wokeness and DEI, but educational attainment has decreased among every demographic group during the 45 years the U.S. Department of Education has been around. It's all of those reasons and those that you mentioned that a majority of Americans have said that Donald Trump is given a mandate for disruption. I think that's what this is. And it is a mandate. If you look at the people he's appointing to his cabinet, they reflect the entire center right, probably 65% of the electorate. I think that it is the beginning of a golden era in American history, Piers. Not just the next 4 years under President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Vance, but I think if they succeed in returning the country to normal, this realignment, which is historic in American history, is going to be around for half a century. I think our friends on the left are shaking in their boots.
So guys, what we just saw is one of the leaders of the fascist Nazi Project 2025, which is allegedly a plan to destroy American democracy forever and lead America down the path toward tyranny. And these are the guys that the other panel member, Brian, has been warning about for a while now, which is why it's such a relief that we get to have this moment right now where Brian gets to confront these guys about their plan and about what it is that they want to do. And this is something that Brian has been complaining about for a while now. Let's have a listen in his own words.
Project 2025. You may have heard about it in the news, but I want to tell you about the dangerous reality of what it is. It is a 900-page blueprint for an authoritarian takeover. This agenda aims to strip away women's reproductive freedoms by implementing a nationwide abortion ban, even in cases of rape or incest. It would also defund Planned Parenthood and other organizations that provide essential health services to millions of women.
So they want to get rid of abortion, and they want to get rid of abortion. Whoa. Brian also issued this chilling warning.
Watch this clip right here and you will recognize why it is so important that we defeat Donald Trump and Republicans so that Project 2025 doesn't get enacted, because if it does, this is what we have to look forward to.
So what we're doing with Project 2025 is we're recruiting the MAGA America First Republicans right now so that we can take DC by storm in 2025. We're not going to go in like we did in 2017, where the establishment took over and co-opted much of the personnel of President Trump's administration. We're more prepared this time. We're recruiting grassroots conservatives, and we want all of you, if you want to serve in the next White House, next State Department, next Pentagon, we want you to sign up. Tell your sons, tell your daughters, tell all your friends. It's project2025.org.
Oh man, sounds really terrible. Really scary stuff, honestly. And now let's have a quick read for ourselves of some of the objectives of Project 2025 before we watch Brian bravely confront this monster like Achilles confronting Boagrius in the movie Troy.
He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's why no one will remember your name.
So in the foreword of this 900-page document, it says that the authors express consensus recommendations already forged, especially along 4 broad fronts that will decide America's future. 1. Restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. 2. Dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. 3. Defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. And 4. Secure our God-given individual rights to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessings of liberty. Furthermore, on the project2025.org website, it says it offers a menu of policy suggestions to meet our country's deepest challenges and put America back on track, including securing the border, finishing building the wall and deporting illegal aliens, de-weaponizing the federal government by increasing accountability and oversight of the FBI and DOJ, unleashing American energy production to reduce energy prices, cut the growth of the government spending to reduce inflation, make federal bureaucrats more accountable to the democratically elected president and Congress, improve education by moving control and funding of education from DC bureaucrats directly to parents and state and local governments, and banning biological males from competing in women's sports. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's now watch brave Brian confront his nemesis.
Well, let me go to a friend.
Come to grips with it.
Let me go to a friend on the left, Brian, because you tweeted or posted to X on 25th of November about Project 2025. You've got one of the architects sitting right next to me here. You said Trump just named to architect of Project 2025 Russ Vought to his cabinet. But hey, thank God mainstream media didn't just take Trump's tepid denials at face value and slap them in their headlines before the election. So look, you've got an opportunity now. You've got one of the other architects sitting right next to me. What do you want to say to him?
Boagrius!
I mean,
Now's your chance.
I don't know.
No, that's very articulate.
I mean,
Thank you.
I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't have.
Boagrius has this effect on many heroes.
You obviously have a big problem with Project 2025. You've got one of the architects
Okay,
here.
I have a question for him.
Okay,
I have
Geraldo?
a question for him.
Yeah.
Why did Donald Trump lie about your report, that he pretended that he didn't know what it was about? I mean, how do you feel when you heard the President of the United States uttering what was clearly and easily discernible falsehood? It really was very distressing. You have some very clever ideas. I read Ayn Rand. I like the Fountainhead and all that. And I consider myself a centrist person. But I agree about lawfare completely. I agree that a president should be immune from criminal prosecution. Also, I agree with you, Piers, about the one-night stand with Stormy Daniels. Ridiculous for him. It was, if anything, it was one misdemeanor, not 34 or 24 felonies, whatever he was charged with. But now I think that the real challenge will be, what will President Trump do vis-a-vis the Ukraine-Russia conflict?
Well, I'm going to come to that, actually, Gerardo, I'm going to come back to that as the next issue. But just on that one point, we go back to Kevin. I want to play Trump's denials of 2025 knowledge. Let's take a look.
Like some on the right, severe right, came up with this Project 25, and I don't even know. I mean, some of them I know who they are, but they're very, very conservative. I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25. He's involved in Project, but I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. But what they do is misinformation and disinformation. Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it.
And then he said on
I guess that's the point, Piers, is...
Hang on one sec, Brian. Hang on one sec. I just want to read it. He said on his platform, Truth Social, I've no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying. Some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. So, Kevin, what was your response when you saw him effectively just totally denounce and distance himself from your project?
That the left spending $75 million mischaracterizing it was working for a few weeks in the campaign. You saw President Trump use the word misinformation. That's exactly what it was. They told only one true thing about the project, Piers, and that was that we want to eliminate the U.S. Department of Education. And ultimately, the great news, and you saw it respectfully of our friend on the panel, Brian, stuttering in an attempt to pursue this, it didn't win. It failed. It was an abject failure. So even all of that mischaracterization, causing the president, understandably, in a political moment to distance himself from it, did not work. This is what the American people are saying. They're tired of the BS from the left. They stopped using this trope in the last weeks of the campaign because they realized the American people were worried about what? The economy, the lawlessness at the border, the fact that men were being called women and women were being called men. And there was one candidate, Donald Trump, who was standing up for that. And guess what? We've done this since 1980. We're going to keep doing it for posterity's sake because it's about revitalizing the American dream.
Okay. I mean, Brian, Geraldo bought you about 3 minutes of time there to try and think whether you had a problem with Project 2025. So now's your chance again.
I do think it's pretty telling that when Donald Trump had the opportunity to talk about Project 2025, all he claimed was that he had no idea who was behind it. He had no idea what was in it. He had no idea whether the people who did write it, what they stood for. And
but as Kevin was saying, he was distancing himself from the
administration right now, including Russ Vought at OMB.
Right.
And yet now, when people don't have the opportunity to vote on it because they've already had that opportunity, suddenly all of these denials about his relationship with Project 2025.
But out of interest, what is your big problem with it?
My big problem with Project 2025 is Schedule F, and this notion that Donald Trump will be able to go in and replace career civil servants with political appointees.
Okay. You sound like a sore loser, Brian.
That's your retort to that?
It's not a bad retort, is it?
Okay, let me put it in the form of a question. Let me put it in the form of a question. Will Donald Trump seek to go in and replace career civil servants with political appointees?
Ask him. He's the president-elect. And it would be a great idea if he did. It's also legal and appropriate because guess what the American people voted for, my friend? Reducing the size of the dramatic overreach of the federal government. Welcome to modern America. It's going to be a normal country.
It's actually not legal because there's a regulation against it, and these federal employees have protections as career civil servants.
You should stop reading Howard Zinn and read some real history, brother.
All right,
that's your response again?
Let me just segue. I want to just segue.
I guess you had all this opportunity. Kevin had all this opportunity to wait and listen, and his response is just that I shouldn't read what I'm reading.
Well, to be honest with you, I did open the door 5 minutes ago, and you blew it, so I've got no sympathy.
So that's one way to seriously little bro someone, but that is just all Brian's fault. I mean, he had the chance there. He had his moment to confront the architect of Project 2025, what he has been crying about and what all of the liberals have been crying about for so long. He had the chance to voice his concerns, but then just turned into a stuttering mess.
I mean,
now's your chance.
I don't know.
No, that's very articulate. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't have.
And then, after a few minutes where he has this time to collect himself and bring forth his thoughts, his argument against this evil, tyrannical project is that he doesn't like that Donald Trump is going to fire bureaucrats and hire people from the private sector. But I mean, I could have sworn he said it was a 900-page blueprint for an authoritarian takeover.
It is a 900-page blueprint for an authoritarian takeover.
Or maybe he was just lying and fear-mongering and actually has no idea what he's talking about and has no idea what Project 2025 really is. I think the latter is probably true.
Now's your chance.
I don't know.
No, that's very articulate. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't have.
But honestly, what this shows and what this whole Project 2025 debacle shows, where Trump has to distance himself from it because of all of this pressure during the election, it just goes to show how absolutely ridiculous and soft the political discourse has come when people can't align themselves with this, with pretty solid messaging. I mean, that's just regular standard conservatism. I mean, most of the plan is basically just common sense, law and order, and anti-corruption, something that conservatives should hear about and not even bat a single eyelid, especially when the other side has completely lost its mind and are actually attacking children ideologically and are grooming them and are actually opening the borders and are actually weaponizing government institutions, social media and tech companies, colleges, and the list goes on. Yeah, no, actually compared with all of that, Project 2025 sounds like a nice Sunday morning stroll through the park. So anyways, with that, guys, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe if you have not already. And if you're getting value from the channel, and if you would like to catch me, you can see all my socials down below. And if you'd like to watch another one, right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.